All right, good afternoon, traders. Today is August 8th, 2025. My name is John Carignan. I am the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. That is the day trading service for the hit and run candlesticks family. Let's go take a peek at how I made 40K today. Let's take a look at the markets. Hey, before I get started, I got a few announcements to make. All right, right way options, Doug Campbell. This Monday, all right? So this coming up Monday, all right? So you can see today is the 8th. So 3 days from now on Monday, August 11th, 9:25, Doug Campbell at Right Way Options is going to have an open house. Now, it's free to attend. All you got to do is get registered. I will leave a link in the description. If you cannot wait for the link, you can scan this QR code right here. All right, with your smartphone, that will open up a link that will take you to a registration page. That registration page, you fill out the information necessary, and from there, they will send you the credentials to get in on Monday morning. All right, so Doug's going to talk about market review, his trading rules, selecting the right stock at 4 options. Going to talk about selecting the correct option for that stock. He's going to talk about entries and exits, stop losses, and he's even going to talk about spreads and how to grow a small account. All right, now if you want to be there, you got to get registered. All right, so that's it. That's this Monday. All right, at 9:25. Now let me just say, Doug creates a morning video that you'll find up in the alerts. When you get in the room, you might want to show up early, like maybe around 9 o'clock, so you can watch the morning prep, all right, before he gets started at 9:25. Just saying, it always helps to be prepared, okay? If you look up on the left side of the chat room, you're going to see a section that says alerts, and you scroll down there to the bottom of the alerts, and you're going to see a link for a video, and that will be his prep work, all right? So try to get there at 9, all right? That'll help you out. All right, so let's drill down. Let's take a look at how I made 40K today. Let's take a look here. First one, $27 on that one. That was the 14 days, 655 calls for the SPY, okay? So, again, all I did was buy the lows and sell the highs of the dips and lows. So I bought the lows and sold the highs. You can see right here. There's a high up here, and you can see the red dots there. I sold, and as price dipped down under, I reloaded. Okay, so I load up, sell off, and then reload. Okay, long term, I am a bull on the SPY. Okay, just in case you're wondering, those are 14 days till expiration, so I'm expecting a whole lot more bullishness. We'll see what happens. All right, made $31 here on these 646 calls, 5 days till expiration. Take a look at those, and you can see the blue dots on the buys. Again, the same process, buying the dips and selling the rallies. Okay, again, buying the dips, selling the rallies. Again, buying the dips. All right, buying the dips, selling the rallies. Same thing, all right? On these 7 days till expiration, 650 calls, made $80 on those. Again, buying the dips and selling the rallies. You can see as price goes up, I'm selling into that rally. Price dips, I reload, all right, and then I sell into the rally above my cost basis there. Again, and then I'm buying into the dips. Again, okay, on those 7 day till expiration calls. 14 days till, 7 days till expiration calls, 635 strike, okay? So I made $800 on those. Is it gonna, yeah, okay, so it populates, so you can see I had some from before, sold them right out of the gate, reloaded, sold them, reloaded, sold into the rally, then reloaded, then sold into the rally, and then reloaded down here, okay? So there's SPY on a 10-minute chart. You can see into the rallies, I reloaded, I sold off into strength and reloaded on the dip, sold off into strength, reloaded on the dip. All right. $2,221 on these 3 days till expiration, 643 calls. Okay, again, buying the dips and selling the rallies. That's it right there. You can see the blue dots are the buys, the red dots are the sells. So selling into strength and reloading on the weakness right there. Okay, 2,000. Okay, $5,027 on the 0 DTE 635. Again, selling into strength, reloading on the dips, selling into strength, reloading on the dip, selling into strength, reloading on the dip. Again, selling into strength up there. Those are 0 DTEs. All right, 0 DTE 640 strike calls. Again, selling into strength, reloading on the dips, selling into strength, reloading on the dips. You can see just a lot of selling and reloading on the dips right through there. Okay, that is the 0 DTE 640 calls. All right, we traded some QQQ as well. All right, and P&L. Okay, looks like we only did one product on the QQQ. So these were the 7 days till expiration, 675 calls, $16.99 made on those. Again, buying the dip, selling the rallies up, buying the dip, selling the rallies, buying the dip. You see the blue dots, selling the red dots. Those are selling into the rallies, buying and selling. Okay, that's it. I'm just right through there. Now, let me just say, I'm going to put out a video, or actually there already is a video, of me trading today. Okay, I actually traded today in the open. All right, and what we had this morning in the open was a 10-minute uptrend we left off with yesterday into the close. So we were looking for a continuation of the 10-minute uptrend. All right, and we saw price move up, okay, overnight and hold the higher ground. Okay, let me just explain this to you, okay, because this is important because I think you guys could all benefit from it. Okay, so you got this exhaustion candle move right into 230 yesterday, all right, and then from there price rallies all the way back to VWAP, okay, all right, before closing out, okay, so price moves up, all right, and then holds the higher ground in the overnight session. Okay, and then we gap up. Okay, see that? Price moves up and holds the higher ground in the overnight session, as opposed to moving up and giving it up. Okay, they went up, they held the overnight session. So, of course, when we get up in the morning and we look at this and, oh my gosh, they didn't retrace back down to where yesterday's low is. They went up and they held up here. That is a bullish outlook. Anytime you can get price to move up and hold that higher ground, that's a bullish behavior. That's a bullish environment. All right, that's a bullish characteristic. Okay, that's like moving up and then planking right there all night, overnight, planking. Okay, holding a plank. For those of you guys that exercise and gals, all right, planking all night long. Okay, that's a show of strength right there. Okay, so what we're looking for is another 10-minute candle. All right, because we're looking for a continuation, because that's bullish, still bullish overnight. All right, so we're looking for a continuation of the 10-minute candle. Of course, what did we get right out of the open? All right, what we did was we marked off this morning. All right, well, the low range, okay, from last night, and the high range from this morning, okay, and then we even marked off the first 15 minutes, okay, put that up there, okay, so we marked off the first 15 minutes. We had a little box that was probably, let's say it was about that size right there, okay, marked off the first 15 minutes, and you can see we had a breakout over the consolidation from last night. So that's a move up, consolidate over to the right, and now we have a break of the consolidation, a breakout right here. So that was a green erases red event right there, okay? So here would be the red. I'm going to show you the red, okay, because I'm going to box it off for you so you can see it. Okay, just give me just a second. Okay, so this would be the red. Okay, would be from this low, from this high, and we had to pull back down to this low right here. okay? And then we had the green come in, okay, and do what? Erase everything the red did, all right? And then more. Okay, so where's your entry? For me, my entry is the red, the green erases the red. So it's right there where you see green erase red. That's my entry right there. Okay, that's where I want to get long on QQQ and SPY. Both of them did the same thing at about the same time. Green erases red. Both charts look very similar. Okay, so you can see there's my green erases red entry right there on QQQ and SPY. Here, I'll take that off. Let me just trash that out. And let's go look at SPY just for a second here. And you'll see we got the same thing happening. Oh, you already got the box up there. Okay, so you see the opening range box right there. So this was gap fill down here. We never even came back for it. Okay, so here's the opening range. Okay, there's the red box. Let's put it back in. Maybe it shows up. Maybe it doesn't. We'll see. Let's see here. Here's a red box. We'll map it out. Okay, right there. Okay, and now green comes in and erases everything that the bears did and more. Okay, and where's the entry? Again, the same thing. All right, right where the green erases the red, right on that candle right there. All right, so there's green erases red on the SPY. Okay, so we traded this bullish, and what did we have? Well, it's my favorite trade. Okay, my favorite trade is 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. All right, and I especially like that trade when you got a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP happens to be inside of a 2-hour uptrend. That's inside of a daily uptrend. That's inside of a weekly uptrend. Inside of a monthly uptrend. Okay, that's my favorite trade. That's what I like, and we had that. And we all mentioned it here in the room. They were even joking with me about it. That hey, this is your favorite trade right here, and we were in on it, and that's how we capitalized on that trade right there. I like it a lot because I got all the time frames working with me and for me. All right, that's why I like that trade. All right, so you can see price is up over VWAP almost the whole day. We had a pullback right there. Never broke the rubber band candle on the 10-minute chart. And then price retraced back up to the highs and then kind of waffled around a little bit and then kept going higher, had another pullback to VWAP, and then we bounced off of that. So bullish all day long, all right, for SPY. So let's look at today's price action. I'm going to take a lot of that off. I'm actually going to try to pick up a clean chart if I can. Let's try this one more time. Here's a clean chart. And just not working with me today. Let's try it again. All right, clean chart, clean chart, clean chart. Something with nothing on it. And something with nothing on it. I'm not sure what's going on, okay? Having some problems with this today. So anyways, let's go to the 10-minute chart, okay? We left the day with a 10-minute uptrend, all right, into the close. On the 2-hour chart, we have a 2-hour uptrend. See the 3 EMA up over the white EMA. 10-minute, 2-hour uptrend into the close. Okay, on the daily chart, we made a higher low, okay, and a higher high. That's bullish, okay? So we're still in an uptrend. We never made a lower low, okay? Still in an uptrend on SPY daily, right up there, and I'll back way out. You can see the quad lines, okay? So here's the low. We're up here in quadrant 4, and we're still in an uptrend. So that's bullish up there and still in an uptrend. QQQ, the same thing. All right, QQQ, 10-minute chart into the close. 10-minute uptrend. See the 3 on top of the 8. 2-hour uptrend. See? 2-hour, 3 on top of the 8. Okay, green dots right through there. Move this stuff out of the way. Okay, green dots right there. Okay, 2-hour uptrend. Daily chart. Okay, going to zoom way out. All right, you can see all the way up here at the top of quadrant 4. Move this out of the way. Okay, so all the way up there at top of quadrant 4. Again, still in an uptrend and consolidating up there at the top of quadrant 4. That's bullish up there on the daily chart. On the weekly chart, again, bullish. See the green dots? Okay, all the way up there at the highs. Okay, weekly, monthly chart, uptrend. See the green dots? Still no lower low through here. You have to make a low below something below the 17. None of these are below the 17. This is the only one that's below the 17. The next one lowers way down here at 200. Okay, so QQQ, uptrend on the monthly chart. All right, so QQQ bullish and in an uptrend. Let's take a look at FNGU. Okay, we watch FNGU. It's got 10 of the most heavily weighted securities in SPY and QQQ. So that's why we keep an eye on it, because those 10 products, when they move as a pack, they can drag those indexes higher. All right, so we keep an eye on FNGU. If you look at the price action for FNGU, you can see price moves up. Let's get a bigger one. Price moves up and holds the higher ground. Okay, it's been up and it's been planking for the whole month of July. Okay, that's bullish. It's up there in quadrant 4. Okay, if we look at this, I'll zoom out. This is quadrant 1. Okay, quadrant 1, quadrant 4. Up there at the top of quadrant 4, that's bullish. Anytime you're in the upper third, okay, the upper third, anywhere in the upper third, well, really it should be a little bit lower. Let's draw it kind of in the upper third. Upper third, up here, this is bullish. Anywhere up here is all bullish. All of this. Okay, that's all bullish in the upper third. Okay, so that's bullish. And problem is right now we're in a downtrend, but get this. See, we have a low that poked below the 17. We made a lower low. Okay, so that is a downtrend. But here's the bottom line. They're not moving down. They're moving up. Okay, so we got a downtrend that's not working, and we're bullish and up there in quadrant 4. Okay, so FNGU put in an inside day. It's a lower high and a higher low. Okay, closing over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. That's bullish, and in a downtrend that's not working. Let's take a look at IWM. All right, this is Russell 2000. Okay, up there in quadrant 3. Again, still moving up and holding the higher ground. Okay, up and holding this higher ground up here. Okay, so that's bullish. Okay, maybe they had a dip right here, but obviously the bulls bought it right back up. So they're in the upper third up here, so that's bullish, barely bullish, okay, and in a downtrend that's not working. Another one is another downtrend that's not working. Again, you can see the low right here. They made a lower low. That's a downtrend, but look at price. Price is not moving down, it's moving up. All right, so there's IWM, technically in a downtrend, all right, but its price is moving up, so we got a downtrend that's not working, all right, and we're bullish because we're still in the upper third up here on IWM, and we're up over all-time high or VWAP. That's that pink line. I like that. All right, and we're up over the midpoint. Okay, so all of that is bullish right there. So there's IWM. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Diamond Dow is moving up and also in a downtrend that's not working. Up and over to the right, that's bullish. Okay, just like IWM, you've got consolidation over prior consolidation. This would be consolidation. See the launch pad built up here, and then a launch into another construction of another launch pad up here. So we got consolidation over prior consolidation. That is a bullish behavior. That is a bullish environment. All right, up there in quadrant 4, that is bullish up there. Okay, and then on top of that, we've got a downtrend that's not working. In other words, price came down, made a lower low, but price is not moving down. Instead, it's moving to the right or moving up. So there's Diamond Dow. Let's take a look at our technicals. Actually, before we dig into the technicals, let's just go ahead and look at a few other ones while we got this chart up here. So let's look at SMH. Okay, SMH up here, consolidating at the top of quadrant 4. That's bullish and still in an uptrend. Okay, so hasn't made any lower lows. So bullish, top of quadrant 4, and in an uptrend. Let's look at XLK, that's technology sector. Again, quadrant 4, top of quadrant 4, that's bullish, okay, and still in an uptrend. Hasn't made any lower lows, okay, that's XLK. Bullish and still in an uptrend. All right, let's take a look at XLF. Okay, XLF is up in quadrant 4 as well. A little bit funky look here going on with XLF. We do have consolidation over prior consolidation. That is a bullish environment. That is a bullish outlook, okay? If they give any more up, all right, we will have a state of moving up and giving it up, okay, which is a neutral state. Okay, again, up in the upper third, okay, is bullish. So anything over this line up here, I consider bullish all the way up to here. Okay, all of that is bullish. XLK, still bullish, all right, but in a downtrend. Again, they made a lower low. So we have a low here. They made a lower low. So they're in a downtrend, but they're not moving down. They're moving to the right. All right, so that is a downtrend that's not working. What we're showing here is a bear flag, okay, right now. This is a move down and building out a platform to the right. So we'll see if maybe they have another downward move in store for them. We'll find out. That's XLF. We're still bullish up here, okay, but it's not acting very bullish at this time, okay? So that's XLF. Maybe they fail to make a lower low or significant lower low, and they reverse and head back in the other direction. We'll find out soon, next week or the week after. That's XLF. That's our financial sector. Okay, last one here. One of the last ones. We'll do a few others here. Let's take a look at IYT. This is our transports. Okay, transports, notice transports moving up and giving it up. Okay, see the move up and giving it up. Okay, so that's kind of just neutral, all right? But right here, they were in the upper third yesterday. Today, not so much, not quite making it today. Okay, so they're just neutral. See that closing underneath that upper third line? So they're just neutral through here. Again, you move up, you give it up. That's just neutral, okay? Good news is they're on top of all-time high anchored VWAP. That's a bullish behavior, all right, or characteristic right now. They haven't made any lower lows as far as these right here, but we do have a low that pokes through the 17 right there, and they made a lower low, so that puts them technically in a daily downtrend, all right? But look, they're not moving down. They seem to be moving up or to the right, all right? So there's IYT also producing a bearish flag, okay? So that's the transports. So neutral and in a downtrend that's not working right now, okay? So there's IYT. Let's take a look, silver, gold, and oil and gas, okay? So let's start off with silver. All right, silver's still bullish and in an uptrend, quadrant 4 up here. Hasn't made any lower lows, so still the uptrend is still intact even after this whoop-de-doo right there. Again, price action putting in an, well, I'm going to have to measure. It looks like a lower high and looks like a lower low. So lower high, lower low, but closing over a bullish trap over the 17, so that's bullish up there. Okay, and in an uptrend. GLD, okay, putting in a higher low and a higher high, closing over a bullish trap over the 17. Look at GLD all the way at the top of quadrant 4. That's bullish. Holding that higher ground for 3 months straight. That's bullish. All right, price action is, see, they made some lows and they made a lower low, so they're in a downtrend, okay, because they broke that lows right there. But if they come up here and take out that high, they will negate the downtrend and convert the uptrend. So gold, again, moving up and planking, okay, so it's a move up and planking over to the right. That is a bullish behavior. That is a bullish environment. All right, so still bullish up there at the top of quadrant 4. I'm going to take this out and scroll back so you can see how far up they are. Okay, you can see from this low clear up to this high. They've been holding over this 300 number now for almost 4 months. Okay, you can see here's 300, and I'll just draw a line over. So you can see price action holding over the 300 number. Okay, and these are the all-time highs up here for gold. So that's bullish in a downtrend that's not working. All right, another downtrend that's not working. We just did silver, right? We just did gold. Let's do USO. Actually, let's just do UNG. Okay, natural gas. Okay, we've still got that bearish head and shoulders pattern. Okay, we've got a triple top head right up here. That is the head right up there. We've got a double top right shoulder and a double top left shoulder. A double top right shoulder, double top left shoulder, and we got a neckline that runs right through here. You can see we pulled down, came back and tested the neckline to see if we could come back over it. We could not, and we produced lower lows. You can see here's a low, here's 4 lows there, a lower low, a lower low, a lower low, and an even lower low, okay? This is the all-time low right there, okay? So price action in a downtrend, showing you the bearish head and shoulders pattern, looking for the right arm to extend down to where the left arm left off and challenge those all-time lows down there, okay? So there is UNG. So it's bearish. You can see it's down in quadrant 1, okay? This is quadrant 1, 2, 3, quadrant 4. Quadrant 1, that's bearish, okay, making lower lows. That's a downtrend right there. Let's take a look at USO. Okay, USO price action. You look at this chart, real quick, and what do you see? I see a lot of this, okay? I'm up and I'm back down, and I'm up and I'm giving it up, and I'm up and I'm giving it up again, okay? Even go down and I even give that up, okay? There's a whole lot of going down and giving it up and going up and giving it up, okay? Lots and lots of going down, giving it up, going up and giving it up. So it's just neutral, all right? That's USO, just neutral. Again, every time they go up, they give it up, okay? They cannot hold anything for the life of them, all right? See this? Up, give it up. Quadrant 4, up, maybe, no, not happening. Going up, maybe going to hold it, no, not happening, okay? You see, a lot of going up and give it. It's just neutral right there. It's not ready yet, okay? We went up there and we couldn't hold the higher ground, okay? Now, we're in a downtrend because we made, see this low? We made a lower low. So we're in a downtrend now on USO because we made lower lows. All right, so there's USO, neutral, and in a downtrend. All right, but still over, again, this 3-year high anchored VWAP. Okay, that's USO. All right, we just did UNG. Look at our technicals, T2122. You can see we broke the downtrend line right there. That was nice. Created, here's a low, a higher low. That was nice. We created a higher high. That was nice, okay? Didn't take out this high, though. Did we start, yet again, another downtrend? I don't know. We'll find out, okay? But that's what it's looking like because, again, we have another series of lower highs, okay, and lower lows down here on T2122. Again, we're closing out the day in the seller's chop zone. Not quite where I want it to be. I'd like to be either in the buyer's chop zone, the buy zone, even in the overbought zone. I'm game for that too, okay? So there's T2122. T2123. Again, we keep making lower lows. These were yesterday's lows. See the low? All right, see the low from the 6th. Okay, we made a lower low on the 7th. Okay, we made even lower low on the 8th. Okay, so we're in a 15-minute chart. Okay, 15-minute downtrend. We're still caught underneath this 200 SMA. Not a good place to be. All right, but all in all, if we look at price action, we have to appreciate the fact that we moved up and over to the right. Okay, we do have a head and shoulders pattern starting to materialize right here. But should the bulls get inspired enough, okay, with a right shoulder there and a left shoulder there, okay, should the bulls get inspired enough to decapitate the head, they will negate the head and shoulders pattern. So there's T21, 23 in a downtrend, but still on the bigger picture, okay, notice a move up and over to the right, okay, so far, okay, showing a head and shoulders pattern forming. All right, so that's a bullish stance up there. That's still bullish, even though this pattern's starting to materialize right now, okay? Underneath the 200 SMA, not my favorite place to be. All right, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully, the 200 doesn't catch on top and curl price down. We'll see what happens. All right, so there's T21, 23, 15-minute chart. Let's hit the 3-bar chart. Okay, price action. Okay, got a low. There's a higher low. There's an even higher low. Okay, we got a high. There's a high. There's a high. We made a higher high, so that's an uptrend. That's the 3-bar chart. Okay, now if you look over to the left on the 3-bar chart, okay, we'll zoom out here. Okay, take these off. You can see we're dealing with this consolidation right here, like that high. Okay, this high right here, we're dealing with this high and that high. We got through this low. I don't know if we're coming back to test it. Looking like they came back and tested it right there. Okay, so we're dealing with this high and this high. Okay, if we get past these two highs, this is the all-time high right up there. Okay, if we can get past it, all right, I'm going to go put the crosshairs on the rally high up here. Okay, you can see the rally high lines up with these two lines over here. This is the rally from this low, see the April low, all the way up to the high. You can see it's these two, this double top right here that is giving price or data a fit right now. They're having trouble getting through there, okay? Now look at this. This is about 30 days wide, okay? So this pivot is as strong as the candles on each side of it, okay? So we're not going to cut through it in, a couple of 2-hour candles, all right? It's going to take us a little while to burn through the overhead supply there and eventually grind our way up through it, okay? So this is normal, pulling back. I do like the fact that we did find a higher low. Do like the fact that we found a home over the hooking up and rising 200 SMA. I like the fact that we're up in quadrant 4. That's bullish, okay? And I like on the bigger time frame, remember, this is the same product back over here. Okay, remember this one was in a downtrend, okay? But this one is in an uptrend still, okay? They have not made a lower low. So right now, currently on the bigger time frame and the bigger picture, we have a move up and then let's over to the right. So that's bullish. And we're up there in quadrant 4 and we're still in an uptrend and we're over the 200 SMA. Okay, again, it may take some time. Remember, this high was put in October. This high was put in November. There's probably at least 30, 40 days in between the two, all right, besides making this valley low right there. Okay, it's going to take us some time to cut through that. It's not going to be 1-2 days and then lights out for these two highs, okay? It's going to take us a while. We're going to have to make probably a higher low and then come back up and attack it again. Maybe we break through, okay? We'll see what happens. That's T2123 3-bar chart. Take a look at FNGU. Take the markings off, okay? I'm going to zoom out. This is a 15-minute chart of the FNGU. Price action, okay, you can see moves up and over to the right. That is a bullish behavior. That is a bullish characteristic. That is buff, all right? That is muscular. That is strong. That is what we like in a product, okay? You can see the consolidation over the prior consolidation. Again, that is a bullish environment whenever we see that. Okay, again, we got consolidation. See all of that. Let's try it again. Let's try it again. One more time. Consolidation over prior consolidation. Okay, this is a bullish environment. Anytime you get consolidation, build a launch pad, launch. Build another launch pad. Big launch pad, by the way. Is this a failed launch? Well, they tried to bust through the bottom. They couldn't quite make it. So we'll see. Maybe we get another launch. Maybe this is a failed top and a failed bottom, and now we're going to rip to the upside. We'll see what happens, okay? We are in earnings season. Remember that, okay? We've got some big chip stocks as soon as they report. If they got some good numbers, I'm just saying the market could really fly high. We are in the midst of an AI rally right now, okay? All right, so that's it for me for today, okay? On the SPY, okay? For Monday, all right? We're looking for, guess what? Yeah, a continuation of the 10-minute uptrend. All right, so let's look for that. Look for price to hold, okay, over the weekend, all right, into the evening hour and in the pre-market, hold that higher ground. Okay, if it does, that's a bullish outlook coming into Monday next week. All right, so I'll see you guys all on Monday. Don't forget, open house in the Right Way Options Room. Thank you, everybody that follows me. Thank you, everybody that listens to me. Special shout out to Sarah, Kathy, and Roasted. Thank you so much. Bob Jordan and John Jordan, thank you so much for sharing my content. Appreciate that. Love you all. Everybody have a great weekend. Thank you.